everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Joelle and I am a full-time reseller on online platforms like Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari. And for today's video, we are going to talk about what has sold in the past couple of weeks. And instead of going over every single sale, I only talk about the notable ones. So we have 16 notable sales from the past 2 weeks. The biggest highlight of this video is the fact that I had a lot of full price sales. Now, if you've been following my YouTube channel, especially since I switched to full-time back in January, you know that I have been pricing my items more accordingly. And by that, I mean that I am pricing my items to sell rather than leaving room for those offers. I still love offers, I still send them out. However, I have noticed that by pricing my items a little bit lower than I would have in the past, I've been getting way more full price sales and also reasonable offers. So we're going to get right into these sales, and we have a great full price sale to start. So first up, for $65 on Poshmark, I sold these Levi's ribcage straight ankle utility jeans, and these were new with tags. If you watched my recent video on how to optimize your listings, you might have heard me talk about pricing items accordingly. Here I go again with that phrase. So I did use these jeans as an example of something that has a great sell-through rate, but I wanted my listing to stand out. So when I looked at eBay available listings, especially in new with tags, I noticed that a lot of people were pricing them way higher than 65. So upwards to that retail price of 98. So I decided to list it for 65 in hopes of getting a full price sale. So here we are a few weeks later, and it ended up selling for full price. So that is exactly what I wanted with these jeans. I did pay a little up for them at $9.99, but for the condition and the fact that it did have a really good sell-through rate, I'm glad that my intuition paid off. So after fees and cost of goods, for these Levi's jeans, I profited $42.01. Speaking of rib cage, next up we have the Levi's ribcage bootcut jeans. These ones were pre-owned, excellent condition, and they sold on a $45 offer sent by the buyer, and this was a very reasonable offer because it was a $50 listing. I put in my notes that ribcage anything is going to sell well, especially if you can find a high-waisted pair. Button fly is always going to do well, and any type of boot cut or flare. Obviously, my previous ones were straight leg, but again, rib cage anything, go ahead and run comps and be willing to pay up for them, especially if the sold comps and sell-through rate are good. So these are a really popular pair of jeans. I will almost always pick them up at the thrift stores. For these ones, I did pay $5.99. So after fees and cost of goods, I made $30.01. Next up, please forgive me for my pronunciation of this brand. So for $35 plus discounted shipping, I sold this new with tags Avec la Fille quilted faux leather jacket. I think somebody told me in the past on a Whatnot show how to pronounce it. Pretty sure that is how they said it's pronounced. But again, please forgive me. I do not know how to pronounce some of these brands, but like I said, this sold for $35 on an offer sent by myself. I believe that it was a $45, maybe $50 listing, and it was a great fall piece. So if I ever find any type of faux leather, especially if it's this quilted fabric, I feel like that is a pretty decent popular style, and it was a great neutral color. With that being said, I would 100% pick this up, along with, of course, all my other sales in this video if I saw it again at the thrift store. I did pay $6.95 for this. This was a retail arbitrage find, and after fees and cost of goods, I made $19.03. Next up, for $24 plus discounted shipping, and this was a $30 listing, I sold these Merrell Jungle Taupe suede slip-on sneakers. Merrell is a great outdoor hiking brand. I've always heard that these types of slip-on kind of hiking sneakers sell really well. I did find it at the bins for just $3.31, so that was a no-brainer for me. I didn't even look up comps because I knew that Merrell was such a great brand. It won't always bring the most profit, but these did end up selling within a few months of listing, and they got a lot of attention on all of my platforms. So for these Merrell sneakers, I ended up profiting $13.87. And next up, we have another full price sale. This one was kind of shocking, and this is actually one of those pieces that I'm not sure if I would thrift it again, but if I did receive it for free, I said here that I would list it again. So for $20, full price, I sold this Naked Zebra dusty pink high neck blouse. Now, I say I probably wouldn't thrift it again because Naked Zebra isn't necessarily a bolo brand, and this was just a basic blouse. I'm very picky these days about what types of tops I thrift. I've noticed that I have a lot of tops that have been sitting. It's just not the best selling category. So I typically try to stick to jeans, shoes, any type of good accessory like a purse, and dresses. And if I ever find a top, it has to be a Bolo brand or a trending style. So this didn't really fit the category. However, I did lower the price from $25 to $20, and I was happy to see it sell for full price. So for this top, I only paid $1 for it. And so after fees and cost of goods, I profited $15, and this one did take about 6 months to sell. All right, there must be something in the water because we have another full price sale. So this was a much more successful one, definitely something I would pick up again. So for $50 on Poshmark, I sold this Theory black pleated front trousers. Theory is going to be a great brand to sell if you can find business wear and career wear. Obviously, you need to be picky and definitely make sure to know your labels because the older label is not going to sell as well. These ones did kind of shock me though. They only cost me $1.79 from Goodwill, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me. But I did put here that they almost got left behind because they were a size 00. But I love selling business and business casual pieces, so that was kind of my reasoning. And I also know that Theory is a very popular brand for career wear. They were excellent quality, but again, that small size almost deterred me from buying it. But of course, I am really glad that I did because after fees and cost of goods, I profited $38.21. And these pants sold within about 2 to 3 months of listing. All right, we have another full price sale. They're not all full price. I wish they were, but this is just another little subtle flex for a full price sale. So for $35 on Poshmark, I sold this Birdie Gray Gwenny chiffon mauve bridesmaid's dress. This is a bridesmaid's dress, but it also took almost 2 years to sell. So I do have a little note here that says, for those of you who don't like formal wear because it sits for so long, I get it. I love moving inventory fast, but this is my one exception. This buyer actually reached out and said that she needed the dress by Friday. She did order this late Sunday night, and so I did tell her that I could go ahead and ship it out first thing Monday morning. Obviously, there's no guarantee that USPS will get it there on time because once I bring it to the post office, it's out of my control, but I've never had a bad experience with USPS, especially on Poshmark. And so I told her, it'll hopefully arrive by Friday, but again, there is no guarantee. But I am telling you this little story because these last minute bridesmaids dress purchases are much more common than you think. So this buyer reached out because she said that she had a massive hole in her dress. It could have happened during alterations, maybe it was damaged in transit, and she needed a last minute dress for a wedding in just a few short days. And so that is why I love picking up these bridesmaids dresses, because if you're only going to wear a dress one time, you may not want to pay full retail price, and so you go to a platform like Poshmark, or you may have some type of disaster or fit issue like this buyer had, and so they ended up having to purchase something real quick on Poshmark. So for that reason, I am very much okay with my stuff sitting because this is now my second bridesmaid's dress that I've sold for full price. To sum it all up, I love selling formal wear even though it sits. You do have to be picky on your brands, but Birdie Gray is going to be a great brand to pick up. I wouldn't pay up for it, but luckily for this dress, I only paid 98 cents. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $27.02. Next up, I have a really unique piece. It is this vintage silk western fringe blazer. This one did not have a brand, but it did have vintage tags on it, and it was being sold. I think it's some type of higher end, maybe consignment store based on the tag, but this one sold on a $38 counter offer sent by the buyer, and it was a $65 listing. So some of you might not have taken that offer. For me, this was something that racked up a lot of likes on all of my platforms, and I never had any interest in it. So after about 5 or 6 months of being listed, I was going to jump on basically any offer that I was going to receive as long as I was making some money. This was one of those descriptions that had a lot of keywords, which honestly I love to make, and so I was very happy with this sale. However, I did not write my cost of goods or my profit, and so I will make sure to put it on the screen. But like I said, this blazer did rack up a lot of likes on all of my platforms, and it ended up selling within about 5 or 6 months of listing. And next up, we have a full price sale. So for $35 on Poshmark, I sold these Hudson low-rise bootcut jeans. Now, low-rise jeans you might want to stay away from if they are maybe a skinny or a straight leg. However, bootcut flare jeans. That is definitely a style that is coming back. And one quick tip that I've learned on YouTube from a lot of other resellers is that when you're selling Hudson, this type of flat pocket on the back is going to be the most popular style. So that is definitely one of the reasons why I did pick this brand up. And I did pay just $1.55 from Plato's Closet. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $26.45. And these jeans sold within about 4 to 5 months of listing. Next up, we have a really unique vintage pair of shorts. So for $28 in discounted shipping, this was a $35 listing. I sold these Alani by Donnybrook wool plaid shorts. These were a really pretty kind of tartan plaid pattern. And when I looked up the brand, I didn't see a lot of details, but it was one of those pieces that if you added the right keywords and had good, clear photos, it was going to definitely sell to the right buyer. So I'm very picky these days about what vintage pieces I pick up, but I have found that I've had a lot more success since switching to full-time and really putting more of an effort into my sourcing that my vintage pieces are selling a lot more. So these shorts only cost me $1, and so after fees and cost of goods, I made $19.38. And these shorts sold within about 6 months of listing. Quick little interruption before we get to the next sale, but I am so sorry if y'all can hear my dog snoring. I am starting to record my YouTube videos out in the living room so he can just be next to me, chilling on the couch when I record, but he is deciding to just snore and breathe really loud right now. So if y'all hear that background noise, I apologize, but I'll share a cute little picture of him so y'all can get a little smile out of it. But let's get back to the sales. So next up, I have this polo Ralph Lauren men's striped polo, which sold on an $18 offer sent by the buyer, and this was a $25 listing. So a couple what solds ago, I did mention another polo Ralph Lauren that sold, and that sold for full price at 25 bucks. This one sold for like 30% off, so not bad. I do really like selling Ralph Lauren menswear specifically. Some of the women's wear can sell pretty well, but I've had a lot of luck selling men's, especially when it comes to polos and just any type of basic wear everyday piece. So this polo was gifted to me to resell along with the one that sold and another one that for whatever reason I haven't listed yet, but these two sales tell me that I need to go ahead and get that one listed for $25. So for this polo, after fees and cost of goods, I profited $14.40, and this sold within about 2 months of listing. Next up, we have a piece that is by no means a bolo brand, but definitely a bolo style. So for $30 plus discounted shipping, I sold this Y2K Athletic Works Barbiecore 2-piece tracksuit. So the brand is Athletic Works. This is a brand that I think is sold at places like Walmart, maybe other retailers like Macy's or JCPenney, but this was a piece that when I thrifted it for just $3.58, I could not pass it up because it was total Barbiecore right around when the Barbie movie came out, and it ended up selling within about 1 month of listing. So definitely a bolo style. I've noticed that I've been selling a lot of Barbiecore, Barbie pink, hot pink items. You definitely need to add those keywords, but it pays off. So if you do ever find anything that is that Barbie pink color, or really just anything that is unique in any shade of pink, make sure to do the research that is necessary, but take those good photos, make it a keyword heavy listing, and price accordingly, because these are the items that are going to sell really well around this time when the Barbie movie is still very popular. And I guess I'm a little behind on my note taking because I also don't have my profit here, but I will put it on the screen. But like I said, this tracksuit cost me just $3.58, so I ended up profiting probably around that $18 to $20 range. Next up was a pretty successful sale on Poshmark. So for $30 on an offer sent by the buyer, I sold these 1822 denim Aran Tulip Hem frayed jeans, and this was a $40 listing, so I thought that was a really reasonable offer. These jeans were really unique, and I will say that 1822 denim is often sold at TJ Maxx. I'm sure it's also sold at places like Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack, but it has lost a little bit of value just being sold at TJ Maxx because people know that they can get it for a decent price when they are out shopping there. But this was a pretty unique piece though, and so I figured it would be worth the pickup, especially because it only cost me $1.50. And from the sold comps that I saw, there weren't a ton of sold comps, but it seemed to be a pretty modern style that sold pretty decent. So for these jeans, after fees and cost of goods, I profited $22.50. and they sold within about 2 to 3 months of listing. All right, we have gone over my notable Poshmark sales, so now it is time to talk about my notable eBay sales. There are only 2 from the past couple of weeks that I found to be notable. I'm starting to see more frequency on eBay, but definitely trying to raise my average sales price. So first up, we have these Athleta Elation 7/8 tights, and these sold on a $17 counter offer sent by the buyer. I believe these were listed for $30, and so I thought the $17 was reasonable enough. I don't expect my Athleta pieces to sell for too much, especially a basic pair of leggings like this. So because of that, I went for the quick sale rather than the higher profit one. These only cost me $3, and if you're ever outsourcing and you see the Athleta Elation line, definitely make sure to run comps, but chances are it's going to be a really good sale. This is probably my 3rd or 4th pair of Elation tights that I've sold. They always seem to sell around that $15 to $25 range. So very successful sale for me, very successful brand for me as well. It's one of my best sellers, and of course, I didn't put my profit here. I will also put that up on the screen, but based on my $3 cost of goods, I definitely profited at least $10 for these leggings, and they sold within about 1 month of listing. Next up, we have another best-selling brand for me this year. So for $20.99 on an offer sent to the watcher, I sold this new with tags Lulu's Forever Your Girl bodycon wrap dress. This one did cost me $5.98, so it was a piece that I kind of hesitated to pick up, but I figured that because I had found a lot of new with tags Lulu's pieces that day, that I would go for that high volume sourcing rather than worrying about the cost of goods, and I'd be okay with profiting a small amount. So this dress did take about 6 months to sell, which I was hoping that it would sell a little bit quicker, but it was a size extra small, and I tend to sell maxi dresses and midi ones way better than mini dresses. So if I saw this again, I would definitely pick it up. I don't know if I would pay $5.98 for it, but having those tags attached definitely helped. And with Lulu, if you watch my videos, you know I'm a huge advocate for the brand, but they do have that style number on the care tag, and so it is really, really simple to find those listings. It will often take you straight to the Lulu's listing. So this was a piece that had a ton of good reviews, really easy to find out if it's true to size or not, and so I have a lot of luck selling Lulu's, I think just because of how popular the retailer is, and it is an online one. So a lot of people, once they start ordering that brand, they start to know what size they are, and it just sells really, really well for me as a secondhand seller. So surprise, surprise, I don't have my profit. That's okay though. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next sale, and I will put that profit up on the screen. So we have one more sale to talk about. It's on Mercari. Full disclosure, this was the only sale on Mercari that I made in 2 weeks total. So definitely a platform that I am struggling on. If you have any advice for selling on Mercari, please let me know. This was a higher profit sale for me, but usually I use it as a clear out platform. I feel like I don't get as many reasonable offers, and I just don't get as much attention as I do when I am selling on Poshmark and eBay. So I'm okay as long as my other 2 platforms are growing, but I definitely want to see Mercari pick up the pace a little bit. So let me know in the comments if you have any advice, but this one was thankfully a full price sale. So for $25, I sold these Zara faux leather split leg pants. Great style to sell, especially with these fall and winter seasons coming up. These ones cost me just $1.79 too. So Zara is a brand that I'm pretty picky about, but this again was a great style. With Zara, I will pick up any type of unique piece along with things like midi and maxi dresses, and I've also seen that things like blazers, especially if they're oversized, are also going to sell well for the brand, but I'm definitely a lot more picky with it. However, this was a pretty successful sale because after fees and cost of goods, I profited $19.27, and these pants did sell within about 2 to 3 months of listing. All right, we have now gone over 16 notable sales from the past 2 weeks on Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari, and I would love to hear your all's feedback in the comments about this type of video. And of course, if you found any sort of value in this video, I hope you consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I've been a little inconsistent the past few weeks and I have not posted any videos, but I'm happy to say that I am ahead of schedule with recording. I finally have some videos queued up along with some YouTube shorts, and so I feel like I'm finally back on track. So definitely make sure to stay tuned for my weekly videos, which are uploaded every single Friday. But I appreciate you all tuning into this video, and that is all that I have for you all today. So now that we're at the end of this video, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you for the next video.